Thanks for tuning in to Trash Can Carpool. Tentative title. Probably will change. This is the show where Try drives home from work and Dizzy gives him company so he's awake while he drives. We'll talk about stuff. Today we're talking about Gacha hell. We don't even know if we'll upload this, but if you do, we do. I guess we did. Dizzy, cut that out. Fuck.
Well, I just was gonna say is that like I don't want us to like start this as a show with like an intro and crap because then we get too wrapped up in it.
Yeah, no, I was memeing. I don't want it to be like, oh, this is Trash Can Carpool.
Maybe we'll keep this in as we joke about the idea of making this into a show, and then we kill the joke by making it by posting this.
No! No, I like the idea of
Are you okay? Was that a bit, or are you seriously in trouble?
That was a bit. No, I like the idea of this just like being a casual, just like singing a bopper. Partially why I wanted to do this is that we just need more short form content to get people into the channel because you can't expect people to watch an hour-long podcast. People like the short form content, and if we can get them introduced to some stuff through here, and then get them to the podcast, get Lunch and Tar onto one of these, I think we'll have cool beans.
Me and Lunch we're trying to like reschedule doing more Let's Plays, but Lunch is busy, so it's difficult. And I was also gonna say if you're in a car, does that mean that we can have Try dies in a car crash ASMR?
No. Don't even joke about that. I am a very safe driver.
I honestly am horrified about that. And I don't get why that's such a popular thing. Like, a friend of mine just kept sending me these. And I'm like, where do you find this shit? And it's like, oh, this shit comes to me. And I'm like Wario dies in a car crash ASMR. Waluigi dies in a car crash ASMR. Like Mario characters dying in car crashes.
They can't plausibly.
And they have thousands of views.
It's like, I completely understand that this is the internet, but why does this exist?
They have tons of views.
I'm incredibly confused right now. What the hell?
And that's why we need Trybien dies in a car crash ASMR.
But no. Spooge.
Oh no.
No.
Oh.
So, fucking hell, I've been playing fucking Dx2 for,
It's like a car crash.
I've been playing Dx2 for Jack Frost so we can actually, like, have fun and talk about shit. But, oh my god. Like, I don't understand how people can play Dx2 outside of people like you who do it for, like, trying to figure out why people like it. Like, I don't understand why this game has a following. It
had the Devil May Cry 5 characters in it once.
Yeah, but that gets people in for, like, maybe a week, and then it's like, oh yeah, this is a bad game, let me kick off. Like, even, like, good Gacha games, people don't always stick around. People always get tired from Gacha games. Like, I don't understand why DX2 got good press initially. Like, it doesn't have a strong start. I think the only thing going for DX2 is that it looked like it legitimately has probably some of the best technically the best graphics of a Shin Megami Tensei game.
I think that's
I'm talking about high quality. Nah,
didn't Project like
I don't think. Although there's a lot, like Jared liked it, but I don't know if he even still plays. No, but there was like a lot of like positive articles about DX2 too. Like there were like it wasn't just Pro Jared that was putting out positive press for the game. But the thing about DX2 is it doesn't have any game design. It reeks like from the gameplay to the mechanics to the events to the summoning pool to the whatever. It reeks of just management saying these had to be in the game, and nobody no one either caring enough or no one knowing enough about how the series actually works to do it. Because really, outside of the demons and the cross turn system, Dx2 is not a Shin Megami Tensei game. Like, it doesn't play like a Shin Megami Tensei game. It doesn't read like a Shin Megami Tensei game. Like, the player interaction with the game isn't like a Shin Megami Tensei game.
There's no player interaction. Literally during a loading screen, it tells you outright that your choices are meaningless.
Do you know what's like one of the weirdest thing about comparison is Shin Megami Tensei is not a game that holds your hand. It expects you to, it throws you to the wolves. Like say what you will about Persona 5 being incredibly easy, it still throws you to the wolves.
In what regard?
Let's say
Persona 5 is very explanation heavy, so I think you might be misremembering.
I might be misremembering. That might be the Sega influence.
Yeah, Persona 5, it gives you tutorials, like every single dungeon has a new tutorial about something, and you're constantly being given, you're constantly being stopped to be told exactly how things work.
But I'm even talking about like the metagame stuff too. Like Persona 5 starts out like any Shin Megami Tensei game starts off difficult, and then as you progress, it becomes incredibly easier and easier and easier until some bullshit thing comes around and screws you over.
That's why I like
only
Nocturne.
A few shit. Yeah,
I feel like Nocturne is the most. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
Well, it's like Shin Megami Tensei usually has it starts off really hard. The middle is usually really really easy, and then the end is either really hard or really easy depending on the game. So something like Strange Journey, really hard at first. Middle game, relatively easy. The rest of the game, the only hard part is the bosses, and that's because of the bullshit status elements.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is that I was gonna say is that even in Shin Megami Tensei games that I really like Shin Megami Tensei 4, you get to end game bosses, and they have boss specific skills. Of course, Lucifer has his own special attack, or Merkba has their own special attacks, but they're instant kills or super 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 broken full party debuffs and stuff. That's kind of why I still really like Nocturne. I feel like Nocturne was the best balanced Shin Megami Tensei game, and that's also kind of why I want you to play it, because Nocturne starts easy and it gets harder, and bosses bosses don't typically use made up attacks to fight you. Some late game bosses, of course, have their very own unique special attacks, but mostly bosses play pretty fair. They're just challenging.
Yeah, that might be why Nocturne is so fondly remembered. I'll say 4 was a game Shin Megami Tensei 4 was one of those games where it started off hard and then it just progressively got easier and easier as you.
Yeah,
I didn't find most of the end game. What?
I blame the apps.
The apps.
Those
the apps. Yeah. No, but as opposed to going back to Dx2, the game starts off so easy, and it just hands out there's 2 phases to the gameplay experience. First it just hands you some 4 stars and 5 stars, and you can just basically auto through most of the story mode. And then it's oh yeah, now we're gonna get really difficult, and you have to it's gonna be broken as hell, and you gotta get the good things from actual luck in the gacha.
Yeah, and then and Dx2 doesn't know how to make difficulty, so it the Aura Gate is just awful, honestly. You'll go through the Aura Gate, and then there's the map layout is terrible. Not only is the map layout terrible, but there's trap floors you have no indication are there, just a bunch of dead ends. You can't use items or skills to heal yourself unless you're in battle, and then you get into a boss fight with a boss that has an infinite every single turn full party debuff, and then physical pierce, and then spams charge and Hades blasts on you, and you're I can win this, but it's bullshit.
Well, let me compare this to Shin Megami Tensei 1. Shin Megami Tensei 1 had dungeons with floor traps that you couldn't see coming. But you could use items at any time. There were specific items you could get to protect yourself from floor traps, and you could always just go back and heal and learn from your mistakes. In the Orgate, because everything feels so like just random, and you can't use items, and it's more of just a grind. The Orgate is all it is a grind.
Yeah.
And because of that,
Say again?
do I sound better?
You sound like you did before the weirdness happened.
Yeah.
And I can't
if
hear
that
myself
happens,
on
I
your
just gotta
channel
reconnect.
anymore.
I've gotta leave and rejoin the thing if that happens.
Alrighty dighty. Oakley dokily, it's me, Ned Flanders. I'm here to promote Shin Megami Tensei Dx2 because it will make you scared of demons.
Yeah, but it fills itself up with all these different concepts from the old, throughout Trybien and Tensei lore, but they're not very well integrated. They're just kind of there and part of the numbers game, without any consideration with how, it actually plays into the system. Like, even the press turn system is very poorly managed in the game. It's just like, oh yes, the press turn system's a thing that Shin Megami Tensei has, despite not every Shin Megami Tensei game using the press turn system. But that's beside the point.
Press turn is kind of one of those gameplay mechanics that, like, how'd I put this? It was a Shin Megami Tensei idea, but it would not feel out of place to not have it.
Yeah, well,
as opposed to Yakuza's, never mind, actually, I don't want to suddenly shift topics too much.
Yeah, well, my thing with the press turn system is it creates a level of artificial difficulty. One of my favorite things about Shin Megami Tensei as a series is that you always feel like you're at least somewhat following the same rules as your opponents or like the demons or whatever. But when you get to the press turn system, you end up facing like bosses or strong enemies that have multiple hits. And granted, I understand it's a boss fight, like blah blah blah. But like instead of your maybe an enemy having like some minions where they have their own press turn systems or whatever, it's like no, you have a boss that has like 3 or 4 press turns and you can't really do anything about it. Or my favorite thing is you have a demon that like can attack multiple times. So this sometimes happens in DX2, is that they have multiple press turn systems. So you bind them or you use whatever status ailment to prevent them from attacking. But because they get 3 turns, they get 3 chances to recover from their press turn. Or recover from the ailment, and then at that point, why are you using the ailments?
Yeah, there's one boss that I told you actually made me so angry that I rage quitted, because it was a boss that it spams full party charm spells and it has 3 turns apiece and no weaknesses. So it's like every single turn you're just getting frequently charmed, so then your party of 4 just starts killing itself. And
you essentially need a team of charmers because most of the skills are randomized, or you have to specially build skills, like a team of skills by farming specific demons through fusion or whatever, and then transferring them over to a team of competent demons that can fight that thing with a charm resistance.
But even if you have a charm resist, it's 3 waves. It's like 3 coin tosses, per turn. Plus, this thing has an almighty attack that gives it an attack buff every time it uses it, even if it misses.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate BS boss.
When I think of gacha games, part of, again, this goes back to the concept of gacha hell. Gacha games are incredibly they're games you have to devote a lot of time to, and when you're designing a game, you have to design a game into consideration of, okay, is this is this a game that people are going to be doing one and done? They play through the game, they do the extra content, and they're done. Or is this a game that they're going to be playing for a long time? And one of the design traps you can get into if you're expecting people to play for a long time is by creating an excessive grind of excessive things to do in regards to building your characters. And that's probably one of the worst things you can do, because if you have too many options in a gacha game, it makes it incredibly hard to balance missions. So at that point, you're either having missions that are too easy because the options are too grand, or too hard because you can't you can't feasibly form a team that can overcome those options.
I tried forming a team that could handle anything, and it couldn't handle anything because it got
Well,
Mass Party Charm spelled to death. It has all elements, debuffs, debuffs, debuff removers, heal spells. It does everything, and I'm like, great, finally, this can basically handle anything, and then it can't.
yeah,
And it's like, well,
but
great. So what else do I need?
yeah, but I've just arrived home. So final thoughts.
Mhm.
Um, the but this is if we talk about like these options, it's not even the amount of like, oh, you have all these demons, too many options. No, there is far too much customization for each demon, which blows my mind because that was never a feature in Shin Megami Tensei. The idea of Shin Megami Tensei is more of this Pokemon-like game where you have. Shin Megami Tensei came out before Pokemon, but ignore that. It's this game where you have all these different creatures you can negotiate with to join your team, fuse together, and your goal is to get specific demons to create specific teams. Now with Dx2, it is you have all these different demons that you can form different teams with, and they all have these benefits or weaknesses. But then you can transfer skills, which granted that is something from Shin Megami Tensei. Don't get me wrong, but that's usually done through fusion or not specifically. Like if you were transferring skills just like fusing demons, I think that'd be fine. But having skill points is one of the most ridiculous features I've seen in a Shin Megami Tensei game.
It's
You
very
have
gacha.
these, yeah. It's not even very gacha. You don't in gacha games you don't fuse units together like this. And in the gacha games you have singular units that you build up over time, and you might have multiple versions of the same unit, but you don't. The only time you fuse units together is when they're the same unit and you're using them to power themselves up.
Oh.
Otherwise, you don't throw away your units.
How have we talked this much about
you
DX2, but we never mentioned that the microtransactions are so expensive you could actually buy a full video game with them?
The microtransactions, well, that's a lot of gacha games, but what makes DX2 worse is that they throw it in your face every single time. Like you do something. So let's say like you summon a demon. It's like, hey, you want to buy these things? But like, most
and these
gacha
things are
games have
$27.99. That's not a
I know.
microtransaction or anything.
Okay.
That's like I could buy a
Yeah,
video game with that much money. I could buy the new Pokemon.
Okay, most gacha games have $70 plus microtransactions. Like
Really?
that's not something that you could. Yeah,
I don't play a lot of
I haven't
gachas,
played
honestly. Really? That's normal?
Yeah, that's normal. And the way they get around it is that like the higher price you get, the more of a deal you're. Spend $5, you might get 25. If you spend $50, you might get 250 plus a bonus 100. So like if you were to buy 10 of the $5 ones, you wouldn't get the same amount of whatever's as you'd buy from the $50 ones. So that's how they get around. That's how they get people to buy the more expensive things, so you're getting more from the more expensive things rather than just consistently buying smaller price things.
Well, if that's how it is with normal gachas, I suddenly perfectly understand why people like Duel Links.
Yeah, Duel Links is probably one of the better gacha games that I like in regards to not being greedy.
Yeah, like $5 gets you like way more bang for your buck. Plus you get in-game currency. Plus you like get insured cards, and the way that the card system is, the way that the deck system in Duel Links or the card shop system in Duel Links is set up is that if you spend enough money, you will eventually get what you want. So I'm like, huh.
If Duel Links actually had something in returns of like in regards to the story, I'd probably play the hell out of it. It's just its single player experience isn't the best.
Oh, it's making a story mode. Dark Side of Dimensions is the new story is story mode.
Ew. But yeah.
I'm genuinely curious how it will turn out.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I think the number one thing that that makes DX2 so unplayable isn't the story. The story is passive. Like the story is really bad, but like you can play a gacha game and get into a gacha game despite how bad the story is. What really kills it is it has so much. It is so much options. There's so much for you to do. There's so many different like ways for you to level up and tune your demons, which isn't in a regular Shin Megami Tensei game. That it overbloats the complexity, overbloats the grind, and it makes for these incredibly unfair challenges unless you've played the game for months and or invested so much money into the game where you got a bunch of free leveling equipment.
And even if you did that, it still might screw you.
Yeah, exactly. Like as opposed to something like Magi Record or Fake Grand Order or Jugalia Lost is the best example because Jugalia Lost has a lot of different ways to like it has a bit of like a feature creep in regards to how much you could all the different ways for you to increase your strengthen your team, but all the extra ways to strengthen your team are separate from the unit. So you'll have your heroes which you can level up or you can do the skills trees. Then you have weapons, which you can splash between units. You have worm prints, which give you skills that you can splash between units. Dragons, you can splash between units. And then you have your you have a facility building mini game for your castle, and those and the benefits from those facilities benefit all of your units. So when you're doing all the extra grind in JOA Launch, it's not like you're putting all this grind into a single unit. You're doing it for your entire team. Where in DX2, you're doing all the specific for one fucking demon.
But if you guys do, there is a team, and if you guys watch this video that we end up posting, be sure, and you play DX2, be sure to join the faction Landfill Bros. We have a faction, because why not?
Yeah. So if you have DX2, look up the faction bro. Look at the faction fucking Landfill Bros. Yeah, as they said, you can find us on Twitter at Landfill Bros, or you can like and subscribe. I am gonna act on these ones because I won't remember to do it on the podcast episodes because it's incredibly awkward. Thanks for watching. Landfill out. That's not our outro.
It is now. Landfill out.
Landfill out.